Tonight, breaking news. The major national security breach. Plans for U.S. strikes in the Middle East inadvertently sent to a reporter through an exclusive group chat with top officials. Incendiary devices found at a Tesla dealership and spreading wildfires, prompting evacuations and a state of emergency. First, that stunning revelation. The reporter who claims he knew top secret details about U.S. military strikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen before the strikes happened, saying he was added to a chat group of top national security officials, reportedly receiving top secret details and highly sensitive discussions. Also, the initial opposition to the plans from Vice President J.D. Vance. Martha Raddatz with new reporting. The FBI now launching a task force to investigate the targeting of Tesla property by vandals, at least 48 incidents nationwide. And now authorities looking into multiple incendiary devices found at a Texas dealership today. Severe weather hits the east as tornadoes slam the south. A state of emergency and mandatory evacuations declared along parts of the East Coast. The extremely dry conditions fueling wildfires from the Carolinas to New Jersey. The tragic death of the son of a former New York Yankees star. The statement from one-time World Series champ Brett Gardner on the loss of his 14-year-old son while the family was on vacation in Costa Rica. A former University of Michigan coach appears in court pleading not guilty, accused of gaining access to personal information and medical data of thousands of student athletes. And tonight, the new lawsuit. And we celebrate 45 years of our friends at Nightline, from their beginning during the Iran hostage crisis that gripped the nation to the memorable and history-making stories and interviews.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Monday night. I'm Whit Johnson in for David. We begin tonight with a stunning breach in national security involving the ongoing, highly classified U.S. attacks targeting Houthi rebels in Yemen. The details reportedly discussed openly over a group chat on the unauthorized Signal app among members of President Trump's national security team. A journalist mistakenly invited to the group. The U.S. bombing campaign against the Houthis now in its 10th day. The Trump administration targeting the Iranian-backed rebels who have long been threatening Israel and cargo ships in the area. The Atlantic now revealing its editor-in-chief, who was invited to join the group chat, says he was included on all the sensitive information hours before the military strikes began. Vice President J.D. Vance, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, top cabinet officials and national security leaders all texting about the plan. President Trump pressed about the report following today's cabinet meeting, saying he didn't know anything about it. Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, lawmakers on both sides demanding answers. ABC's chief global affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz leads us off.
It is a shocking lapse in national security. Instead of using highly classified secure channels, Vice President J.D. Vance and members of President Trump's national security team sharing detailed active war plans on a commercial messaging app, text that inadvertently included journalist Jeffrey Goldberg from The Atlantic. An extraordinary mistake that the White House now acknowledges.
My reaction was, I think I've discovered a massive security breach.
As he reported in The Atlantic days before the U.S. attack on the Iranian-backed Houthis in Yemen in mid-March, Goldberg wrote he was surprised to be added to a group chat on the app Signal, apparently by National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. Also on that chat, the names J.D. Vance, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, DNI Director Tulsi Gabbard, and others, calling itself the Houthi PC Small Group. PC, or Principals Committee, generally refers to a group of the most senior national security officials. At 8:16 on Friday, March 14th, Vance, texting the group about the possible strikes on Yemen, I think we are making a mistake, pointing out what's happening off the coast of Yemen affects European trade more than U.S. trade. And in a stunning declaration, Vance, who is normally in lockstep with the president, saying, I am not sure the president is aware how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now, suggesting delaying the strikes for a month. At 8:27, a response from Pete Hegseth saying that waiting will not change the calculus, but it could make the administration look indecisive. In what The Atlantic says is a screenshot of the Signal chat Goldberg was added to, at 8:45, Vance responding, if you think we should do it, let's go. I just hate bailing out Europe again. Hegseth responding, I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic. The next day, March 15th, at 11:44, Hegseth posts a team update revealing the strikes would commence in 2 hours. Goldberg did not quote from the text in his article, saying Hegseth shared operational details of the forthcoming strikes, weapons, deploying, and attack sequencing. Goldberg simply waited to see if any of the information shared would actually happen. Then, at 1:55 p.m., the first explosions were reported in Yemen, with many more to follow. According to Goldberg, the administration officials reacting after the strikes. Excellent, a good start. Waltz even sending several emojis. Goldberg wrote he was skeptical the group was real at first, but today the National Security Council saying at this time the message thread that was reported appears to be authentic, and we are reviewing how an inadvertent number was added to the chain.
I receive a text in this chain from someone who claims to be Pete Hegseth, who provides what I can only call a war plan.
Tonight, Hegseth blasting the reporter and the report.
Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that.
Mr. President, your reaction?
President Trump, hours after the texts were reported, saying he was unaware of the story.
I don't know anything about it.
Whit, military officials at the Pentagon are dumbfounded by the security breach, with lawmakers on both sides of the aisle demanding a full investigation. Whit?
We're seeing that swift reaction across Washington. Martha, thank you. Turning now to the FBI launching a new task force to investigate the growing reports of attacks targeting Tesla dealers and vehicles. At least 48 incidents nationwide. And now police say multiple incendiary devices were found at a Tesla dealership. ABC's Maria Villarreal reports from Austin, Texas.
After dozens of violent incidents like this against Teslas across the country, tonight the FBI announcing it's launching a new task force comprised of counterterrorism agents to investigate who's targeting dealerships, cars, and charging stations. Today, law enforcement swarming this Austin dealership not far from Tesla's headquarters. Police finding and removing several incendiary devices. At that same showroom over the weekend, crowds protesting. Officials have not indicated whether today's discovery is tied to that event. But anger over Musk's role in the White House growing coast to coast, from New York City to Boston, Memphis, and Colorado Springs. The FBI saying there's been at least 48 instances in more than 9 states since January, including arson, gunfire, and graffiti. The FBI now urging Americans to be vigilant around Tesla locations. The president, who's called the vandals garbage, today saying those caught are terrorists who should cut it out.
They're going to suffer very grave consequences because they're really terrorists when you think about it. They're terrorists at a high level.
Whit, Musk says several of his Doge employees have actually received death threats, with a global day of action set for March 29th. Organizers calling for peaceful protests at Tesla locations this Wednesday across the globe, including this one right here in Austin. The FBI will surely be on high alert. Whit.
All right, Maria, thank you. Next tonight, the state of emergency and mandatory evacuations in the South. Tornadoes, dangerous storms, and wildfires from Texas to the East Coast. Large fires destroying thousands of acres in North and South Carolina. The National Guard called in to assist. 2 tornadoes, including a confirmed EF1, touching down near Rolling Fork, Mississippi. That same area devastated by a deadly EF4 just 2 years ago. Here's ABC's Janai Norman.
Tonight, multiple out-of-control wildfires raging along the East Coast, burning thousands of acres, forcing people from their homes.